So, right now I'm reading from the Reference Guide to Regulatory Compliance on page 644, paper page 644 in the old text. This is the disclosure of financial information. To promote public confidence in the banking systems, federal banking agencies require banks to make certain financial institutions available each year. Banks have some discretion in deciding the form of the information. However, there is a minimum quality of information that must be made available. Coverage: all state and national banks, all FDIC-insured state license agencies for foreign banks. The requirements, put simply: annual report disclosure, required contents of disclosure, alternative disclosures, certifications by the bank, and public disclosure and prohibitions. Lastly, we'll go into enforcement. So this is not a long regulation. Under the annual report, a covered institution must prepare an annual report of its financial condition as of December 31st of each year. By March 31st, covered institutions must make a copy of the report available to members of the public who request it. Current year reports must continue to be made available until the next year's report is available. And C, required contents of disclosure. 1. The disclosures must be a fair representation of the bank's financial operations for each year, financial condition at the year end and the preceding year end, including the results of operations for each year. 2. The bank may comply with this requirement by providing a copy of the call report for those years, or a copy of the following schedules from the call report, which is Schedule RC, the balance sheet, RCN, past due non-accrual loans and leases, RI, income statement, RIA, which is a change in equity capital for commercial banks, change in net worth for savings banks, and RIB, which is charge-offs and recoveries and charges and allowance for loan and lease losses. Part 1 may be omitted. 3. Foreign banks with U.S. branches or agencies may comply by providing the Schedule RAL, E, and P. RAL is assets and liabilities, E is deposit liabilities and credit balances, and P is other borrowed money. Federal agency may require the disclosure of an enforcement action if it deems such disclosure necessary. 5. Bank may provide optional information that it deems important to the evaluation of its financial condition, including information on mergers and acquisitions, other financial data, the existence of underlying causes of enforcement action, business plans, material changes in balance sheet or income statement items, and future plans. Number 6. Disclosures must contain a disclaimer stating that the disclosure has not been reviewed or confirmed for accuracy by the bank's regulatory agency. In the words, the statement has not been reviewed or confirmed for accuracy or relevance by the OCC-FDIC. Subpart D, under requirements, alternative disclosures. 1. Annual report to shareholders. If the bank has a class of securities that are registered under Securities Act of 1934, or if the state member bank is subject to reporting under Reg H, the annual report to shareholders may be disclosed. 2. Independently audited financial statements. If the bank has independently audited financial statements, the bank may provide 2 years of financial statements and the certificate or report of the independent auditor if the report contains all of the required information. And 3. Subsidiaries of one bank holding companies. If the bank is a subsidiary of a one bank holding company, the bank holding company's report to the Securities and Exchange Commission or its report on Form FR-Y-9C may be used instead if at least 95% of the holding company's consolidated total assets and liabilities are assets and liabilities of the bank. E. Certification by the bank. If the financial information is not accompanied by a report of an independent accountant, an authorized bank officer must certify the correctness of the information and sign the report. Public disclosure. The bank must send either the disclosure or an announcement of the disclosure with its annual notice to shareholders. The notice must contain the address and telephone number from which to obtain a report. 2. The bank must place a notice in its main lobby and in each branch that announces to the public the availability of the disclosure statement along with the address and phone number from which to obtain a copy, and a statement that one copy will be provided free of charge. And letter G, prohibitions. Bank may not disclose any portion of a regulatory examination. No bank employee, officer, director, or agent may directly or indirectly disclose false or misleading information, and no bank employee, officer, director, or agent may represent that a regulatory agency has reviewed or confirmed the accuracy of a bank's disclosure statement. Enforcement. Under this part, the regulatory agencies have the authority to assess civil money penalties against any person violating the prohibitions of this regulation. To find such person liable, it must be shown that the person or bank disclosed information without a reasonable basis or in bad faith. Lastly, the fear of penalties are usual penalties up to $7,500 per day for violations of laws and regs. Penalties up to $37,500 per day, violations or unsafe or unsound practices, or engaged in recklessly or are part of a pattern of misconduct that causes more than a minimal loss to the bank or any pecuniary gain to the parties involved, and penalties up to $1.375 million per day against persons who knowingly commit a violation and knowingly or recklessly cause a substantial loss to the bank or a substantial benefit to the party.